UFC fans, we have an unreal fight for you this Saturday at UFC 281. Israel Adesanya versus Alex Pereira is one of the most interesting matches in UFC history, and you don't want to miss it. If you want to make things even more exciting, listen up. Our sponsor, DraftKings Sportsbook, the official sports betting partner of UFC, is giving new customers an amazing deal. If you're a new customer, here's what you do. Sign up using the promo code Sonnen. Bet just $5 on either fighter to win prior to the fight starting. And if he does, you will win an additional $200 in free bets in your pocket. Want even more action? Combine multiple bets, like which fighter will win and how long the fight will last, in one parlay to give you a shot at even bigger winnings. If mobile sports betting is not yet available in your state, DraftKings Daily Fantasy is giving all MMA fans a chance to cash out this weekend. DraftKings is safe, secure, and reliable. Best of all, you can deposit and withdraw your cash whenever you want. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app right now. Use the promo code Sonnen when signing up. Bet $5 on any UFC 281 fighter to win, and you will get an additional $200 in free bets if your athlete wins. That's code Sonnen. This Saturday at DraftKings Sportsbook, the official sports betting partner of UFC. Let's have a chat about Michael Chandler and Dustin Poirier. Let's start this anywhere that you want to. First off, what do I love to do? I love to know why two guys are fighting. That matters to me. The way that this fight came about, I have never seen it in my life. I would not predict for you that it would happen. Do you guys even remember this? We seem to have glossed over this and moved right on. I haven't, because I don't have resolution. Michael Chandler wins a fight over Tony Ferguson, grabs the microphone, burns the house down. Through burning the house down on this post-fight interview, he calls out all the top guys at 155 pounds, makes it very clear that he knows who they are, he knows what the rankings are, he knows that he is right there with them. He knows there can be only one. And he's willing to risk it. And he goes through all the top guys. He did not call out Poirier. That upset Dustin. Imagine I was giving you this advice. Hey, Chael, how do I go get a fight with somebody? Okay, great. Here's what you're going to do. You're going to grab that microphone when your match is done, and you're going to call for a fight with everybody except the guy that you want. Okay, how's that going to get me the guy? Because it's going to piss the guy off. Just trust me. I would never predict that for you. I have never seen it. I love it. I really do. I have never seen an angry Dustin Poirier. I know he has that within him somewhere. This is a cage fighter. He's a very polite, he's a very sweet guy when you see him. I know that exists within him somewhere. And now we've got it out of him. Chandler got it out of him by not insulting him, by not challenging him, by not calling him. Poirier looked at it as you were being condescending. As a matter of fact, Poirier said that. Poirier showed his cards. Here's what's upset me. He didn't call me out. He calls for the top guys. He forgets me. Hey, F this guy. They go back to Chandler. Chandler, why did you not mention Poirier? Chandler told the truth. He said, you know what? I forgot him. So I was going through all of the top guys. I didn't care who was where, what their style is, or what they've done. I was going through all the top guys. I forgot about Poirier. Well, and that just pissed off Poirier more, right? That was just fuel. That was fuel on this fire of Poirier that none of us knew would have upset him in the very first place. This leads to a face-to-face confrontation at a UFC event. And I'm telling you guys this because you might have forgot. Chandler comes walking in. He's headed to his seat, minding his own business. Poirier is already a set fixture. He's in his seat. Poirier sees Chandler, and they get into it. And these are two guys that don't get into it. These are two guys who behave like gentlemen. That when they show up places, their hair will be combed. They will be freshly showered. They will have on a clean t-shirt. Fans will look forward to seeing them. These guys go into the category of gentlemen. They can't get it right, and they can't get it right, and you trace it back, and the whole thing has to do with Poirier's name got left off a list of guys that Chandler wanted to beat up. Okay. Okay. I'd never seen this. I'm into the whole thing. I'm reminding you guys, but now that the fight is made, what are they fighting for? And that's a tricky one, and that's a very personal question. I believe that Dustin Poirier is to a spot in his career. Now, don't forget, this is a former top contender. This is a long-time main eventer. This is a guy that's made plenty of money. You want to talk about prize fighting. He's taken his good name and he's passed it over to other things. Charities come to mind, giving back to other people. This is a guy that wore the belt. What makes a guy like that tick? What do you want to do with a guy like that? That's a very rare guy. What do you want to do? I believe he wants to do big fights. I believe Dustin would like to go to the island of Conor McGregor, of Nate Diaz, this really rare place in our sport where whatever you do, it's going to be a huge deal because you're doing it. We don't have to put titles up. We don't have to put rankings up. We don't have to put contenderships. You're enough of an attraction. I believe that's where Dustin would like to go. I believe he would like to bring us the fights that we would really like to see. The special star matchups. Okay. He doesn't get to do that on his own. He gets to come out and do everything right, and then you guys elect whether you can place him there or not. But I think that he's identified that that island exists, and that's where he would like to do it. He'd like to do very special things. That's what I think. Now, I think that Chandler wants to be champion of the world. I know he was given the opportunity. I know Chandler's been put in big fights. I know he's been a champion before, but he hasn't been this champion, and I think he wants it. So that means he needs to find himself matches that get him as close to a number one contender's match as he can, which would then get him into a world championship match. Now, before you tell me that I just stated the obvious, maybe it wasn't obvious to some of you, and maybe I'm not right to begin with, but if I am, how do you think that that would affect their motivations going in? And if it's what Chandler wants, he wants it so damn bad, anybody, you bring them. But it's got to get me closer to my goal of being champion, of wearing that belt. And he finds himself in a match where that is not what's on the line. How do you think that would affect his motivation? And all we could do is speculate. We couldn't even go to Chandler and ask Chandler and go, well, there's your answer. No, you don't really know. You don't really know deep down. How does that make you feel? You don't really know. Can I go through a whole training camp, go through a whole process, go out, do a mega thing, and not become closer to my goal? Where's that drive going to be? And what drives a guy? It's very important, right? If you're handicapping these things, or even if you just want to go predict it around the water cooler with your buddies, it is important that you know not how fast his jab is or how powerful his cross is. What is it that he's in there fighting for? So now we've got Chandler versus Poirier, which is iron on top of iron. And I believe you have two different matches here, by the way. I sincerely do believe that. Michael Chandler versus Dustin Poirier for 25 minutes. I feel fairly comfortable in my prediction that Dustin Poirier wins that match. Fairly comfortable. I'm not talking about a huge bet. I'm not talking about a massive statement, but I would say to you, with a level of integrity on the line, a level of expertise that you would come to me for, I would say to you pretty comfortably that Dustin Poirier wins that. When you shorten it to 3 rounds, things just changed. That takedown ability of Chandler is real. It exists. And should Chandler execute that takedown ability, say in the first round, and he gets that position, I think that he can ride out an entire round. Now you've got 2 rounds left, and Chandler's only got to grab one of them. I'm not bullish on telling you quite yet that I think that Chandler's going to win this fight. I'm not positive he's going to go to that takedown ability. I'm not sold that he's going to do it. I don't see his style as everything setting it up. Everything's setting up that college wrestling. That's not what he does. He's starting to believe in his hands. And by starting to believe in his hands, he started 10 years ago to believe in his hands. I just don't know that that's what he's going to turn to. I don't know that he's going to go out there and lock up that 1 round. And I'll share this with you. For my final thought for the day on these two, Dustin Poirier has never been given credit for his ability to weaponize pace. And the only people that will talk about that are Dustin's former opponents. You will get Max Holloway to complement the conditioning and the pressure. You will get Gaethje, you will get Eddie Alvarez to talk about how hard and how in your face Dustin Poirier is, but the audience hasn't quite caught on to that for whatever reason. He's not known as the guy, as this Dan Gable-esque, where I will break you with my will. I think that it's a miss. I think that Dustin Poirier is that guy. I don't think people can throw punches and punches and stay in your face and scramble as many times as you need to scramble to get your hand raised as Dustin Poirier. I think he's in a very elite few. With that compliment on the table and fully aware of that, does it become relevant when you're only out there for 3 rounds? I want you to think on that. I'm going to give you my opinion, the answer to my own question, tomorrow.